Just hit unmute when you're ready to start.
You're on mute.
But I have you. James, we're ready when you are.
You're good to go.
Right, it is Wednesday, June 12th, 7:02 p.m. Board of Finance for the town of Madison is now in session. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Nice, well, exactly. Need a motion to approve the minutes of May 15, 2024.
So moved.
Okay, second that. Any amendments, corrections, discussion?
No, I won't.
Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Motion carries. Chair's comments. First of all, I mentioned earlier that Jean Bond, since she couldn't be here, Bob really always has another commitment on the second ones of the month. So understand that being there. Also, just briefly, I've been talking to Stacy about my commitment. I would like that. I know it's June, July, and August. I like that. Every minute, this little budget workshop, Board of Finance, so we can get together, decide, what's good for us. And just to go through things and change. If that's okay with everybody. I'd like to decide that next. When we can do it.
Your audio is really not very good for us on Zoom.
Shut up, fans.
There's a big fan in the back.
Oh.
Did you hear us all, Matt, and Jude, or no?
I can hear a bit, but it does go in and out.
Yeah. I was getting every like third or fourth word.
Basically, I want to just have a budget workshop, not a budget workshop, for our massive investment plan in the next week, few weeks. So I'm just gonna, if you guys can email me or Stacy, it's a good time. It should be about 30 minutes. Just go through some of the things that have changed and what we're looking to do. Did you catch that or no?
Yes.
Good. And thank you for your finance member comments. Anybody, you at the, Peggy told me you were at a meeting.
Library recently.
Yeah. So anybody in the finance board, like to say anything or any comments? Seeing none, okay. First Selectwoman, Peggy did text me, she could log in, I think we're fine, so told her not to worry about it, so she will not be here this evening, she won't have any comments this evening. Citizen comments, anybody from the public would like to speak? There's no one in the audience. Jean, anybody there?
There are people here, but they have not raised their hands.
Second time? Third time, public information sessions closed. New business approval of line item transfers for fiscal 24, totaling $548,823 pending the Board of Selectmen approval. Need that in the form of a motion. I know Stacy will do it.
So moved.
Motion by Katie, I need a second.
Second.
Thank you, John. Second by John. You just want to explain that real, I know
Sure.
these are within their own budget, but go ahead.
They're routine at the end of the year where we asked all the departments to kind of clean some things up. We had a little bit of savings in some office staff and salary accounts, so we're looking to move some funds over into our severance reserve to help with potential retirements and accrual payouts for next year. And then the bigger ones are public works, just again, moving money around. And the police department trying to make all of his line items whole. There is a special appropriation we'll talk about, but other than that, he did find funds within his department.
For the most part, just moving the funds within
Within
the
each
department,
Yep.
which is standard.
But he was $22,000 short, so that's the reason for,
So the 22,000 is for the dispatch, the communications, and then the 69,000 is for special duty jobs where the revenue offsets that. So we're cut, those are those two specials, but any other account, he did find money within.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, we got a motion to approve the transfers of 548,822. All in favor, say aye, or raise your hand.
I,
Any opposed? Abstention, that motion carries. Discuss and take action to approve the return of ARPA project balances totaling $159,812 to the ARPA Fund pending Board of Selectmen approval. Can I get that in form of a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion by Katie, can I get a second? Second by Jude, thank you. Discussion, these are balances that haven't been used, returned to ARPA.
Yeah, so we gave all the departments a June 1st deadline, get everything encumbered or spent by June 1st, so we know where we stand. We have until the end of the calendar year to commit all of these funds, so we're trying to get ahead of that, so we don't lose any of the money on December 31st, yes?
Yeah, so if we commit by the 12/31/24.
Yeah, so the thought is to move these monies back, and then we'll talk about all the additional requests. There are a few requests that came forward. Board of Selectmen opted not to approve those yet, waiting to see if other requests come in. And then give us a little more time to make sure all the balances are returned to see the full picture.
Kip, you had a question?
So the 159,812 is different than the number on this sheet that says potential returning project balances. Is that because that doesn't, this 159,812 doesn't include those three projects, the Madison?
The 159,812 is on this sheet in the upper part.
Right there.
Yep.
Okay, so this is
This is just to show you what could potentially happen. All you're voting on tonight is to return the 159,812.
that I understand. My question is, are we sure we're getting this money back that's at the bottom?
No,
We're not.
that's why, no.
Gotcha. That was my crux of my
Good
question.
question.
I had already added it up, spent it.
Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, abstention, motion carries. Discuss and take action to approve a special appropriation request for $22,000 from the Madison PD from the undesignated fund balances to the Madison PD communications account for end of the year reconciliation pending the Board of Selectmen approval. Need a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion second. I'll second that. We have a motion and a second, discuss, take action, special, is there any comments or discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So, Stacy, is it possible to look over the years at how often appropriations are requested from for overages like this? I know this is a unique year because of some unique situations.
Every year.
But it feels right. I would like to, and maybe work with the police department to adjust their budget so that we can better plan, if that makes sense.
Sure, I can get you the history on the special.
I would appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Discussion? This might, maybe be just at the end of the year what the PD is every year. Are they in the black, are they over, in red, that's all. There's a motion to approve, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, extension? Motion carries. Item 10, discuss and take action to approve a special appropriation request for $69,400 from the Madison Police Department from the undesignated fund balance to the police service account for the OT special duty pay pending the Board of Selectmen approval. Get the motion, please.
So moved.
Motion, go to second.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, that motion carries. So here's item 11, so I talked about earlier. So discuss and take action to approve a special appropriation request for unspecified amount. I don't think we need to take actions. I really want to go through the budget, keep saying budget workshop because it's in my head, but the workshop, because I do think it's going to make a difference for the CIP plan. I do think we should put more money into it. So on that, I would just like to get a little discussion. So we can make a motion to discuss, or we can just discuss the special appropriation request for the CIP program from the undesignated fund balance. And then the board of selectmen, but I'm not looking for action here unless we really want to do it tonight. What I prefer is that we actually go through the numbers and then, right? So I don't know if you want to just briefly talk about what we put together on that.
Yeah, so we've been working on the Madison investment plan like we did last year. There were some assumptions made and now they're changed now that the budget has been adopted. So we started to relook at our assumptions and where we are. We try to project out 5 to 6 years to see how we can make things work, how we can mitigate any increases in the mill rate, and so on. And the big thing in the Madison investment plan is investing in capital and keeping our taxes somewhat level, or avoiding spikes in there. So we did start to look at it. I've personally made some assumptions. I came up with some ideas, but I definitely would like your input to see what you all think. I do think there's 2 ways we can infuse into CIP. One is to help mitigate future tax increases to help the budget in the next 5 or 6 years. That would be one way. And the second way would be to just increase balances to make sure if, additional projects come along that we have that balance in the CIP. So those are the 2 thoughts I have, and I want to share it all, when we have more time to go through at a workshop and kind of do show and tell. So
You can ask questions and go through, which I'm sure we'll all have, but it's what? Now you had a question?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I would prefer to go through a workshop, and definitely I'd like to hear about what's going into it. But also, I think some members of the Board of Finance have brought up good points with how we should get back on track with how it's used. So I think that the format and form of using CIP in conjunction with making an infusion is going to be important at a workshop.
So this is part of the, obviously, CIP, but going through the whole Madison investment plan, as you said, things have changed, there are assumptions that are made. For example, inflation is a little bit higher than it was a couple of years ago, so just things like that. I do think our fund balance is pretty healthy, so, and projected to grow again, but I agree with you, Matt, so I think it's good that the workshop go through it. I'm just laying it out there, and my expectation, not only for myself, but also for the board, is that we increase the funding to the CIP. One way or another, but I want every, to go through everything. That was. Go ahead, Katie.
Thank you. So you know how strongly I feel about CIP as a planning tool, and just, I was watching, maybe this is what you were talking about, at the Board of Selectmen meeting today, just looking at ARPA funds and what might be left over. And there were some new capital projects that were proposed by the Board of Selectmen. The reason I think why I feel it is necessary to really start funding the CIP, specifically CRE, in a big way is that, we're starting to use, we're starting to take things that would never, I can't say never. My understanding is that the CIP was not looked at in terms of ARPA funds, right? We're kind of like looking and asking for requests and kind of funding them, instead of looking at projects that I know, having been on CIP, have been pushed out because we couldn't afford them. And so to me, again, and I said this the last meeting, it feels a bit out of sync. And I know that there are things like fire department, ambulance, nice to haves, as well as need to haves that have been pushed away. through the CIP process that are not being addressed, and other things through ARPA are kind of muddying the waters, if that makes sense. So I would like to start getting back on track and encourage the Board of Selectmen to, if there are extra ARPA funds, to really look at the history of CIP and figure out what have we been kicking down the road, and what, and or if does it qualify for ARPA funding. So that's my editorial.
Okay, and I kind of want to jump in for a second, because I didn't ask for a motion or a second, we're kind of like freelancing here, normally we'd have a motion second and discuss.
Discussion, yeah.
And we wouldn't have to vote on it, or we could do it on the financials, but this to me is more than CIP, the workshop we're gonna do, it's about the whole Madison investment plan. And there are some assumptions made, as Stacy said, but yes, infusion money to CIP is part of it, you know, not having the spikes in the taxes are another part of it, and controlling expenses are a huge part of it, so it's all of that together, it's not just, with all due respect, CIP or one thing, it's pulling it all together, and part of that would be the use of our undesignated fund balance, how it makes the most sense. So, I just wanted to kind of, you know,
Go ahead.
expand on that little statement there a little bit.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I would want to say to respond to Katie's comment. We absolutely used ARPA funds for CIP projects. We did the tennis courts, we did the HVAC here. We looked at projects at the point when we were blessed with over $5 million, and we looked at what we can do and tried to spread it amongst the community, CIP, internal departments requests. So we did include CIP. And now that we are down to the, you know, the bottom, and the timeline is running out, I do agree, maybe it's time to maybe pick one other CIP project, call it a day, and be done. But CIP was definitely considered when we were discussing ARPA.
Absolutely, I agree, and I feel like that's how we started. And somewhere, and it might be with this loose change, right, that we're down to kind of the nitty-gritty, but there was a brand new project
Sure.
that was introduced just at this last Board of Selectmen meeting that I feel like is a worthy, absolutely worthy project. But is it more worthy than something that ambulance has been asking for 4 years, right? So that's just where I come down to it being a financial part of this. Practically, I get what the Board of Selectmen sees and hears and is responding to. I totally understand that part, but the fiscal part, I think, I would like more understanding of. So thank you, John, for doing a workshop or whatever you want to call
No,
it.
it's a workshop, it is,
Yeah.
it's in budget, but it's not, I'll take everything's not the
Right.
budget, but.
Anyway,
I think
Sorry.
we're good, so we get some response from the rest of BOF in the next day or two, we'll I'll
About
contact
dates.
Stacy, we'll pick a date and time that's convenient. May not work for everybody, hopefully it does, that's the goal. All right, and actually, so, and basically where we are now is reviewing financials, because we kind of.
So we're tabling this.
Yeah, there's really nothing to vote
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
yes. I want to do the workshop first.
Yep.
so just given that CIP does begin, and I know this is bigger than CIP, but it's my baby, so you'd like to do this workshop at soon?
Yeah.
Like in the next month?
I said the next couple of weeks, I think.
In the next couple weeks, even better. Okay, so by the end of the summer and before CIP starts again, we'll have some resolution to a plan.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, if we can meet in the next few weeks to go through it, I know this board pretty well, won't take, you know, days or hours, it'll probably take 30, 45 minutes. You know, I'm not rushing anybody either, go through it, and then we go from there. But yes, so you'll, you know, in a few weeks have, to me, we would have a number for CIP that we all support. Of course, it's not just CIP.
No, and I wanna understand better the investment part of it, cause I know CIP like the back of my hand, but that piece I would like to understand better.
So to John's point, it's just kind of been tabled without even, you know, motion effective, it's been tabled, there's really nothing to vote on. So we're doing a review of the finances now. And I know, Stacy said an update on the fund balance and everything else. Anybody have any questions? Go ahead.
So I get most of the, all the way far right column comments, like line item transfers, LIT, I assume. The one I didn't understand was SA and JE. Oh, special appropriation is SA. and I did
Journal
know.
entry, just meaning we need to reclass within.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my only question.
Any other questions on the financials and the fund balance or anything? I mean, Fillmore's not here to ask the fund balance question. Now, do, okay. Citizen comments, anybody from the public who'd like to speak? Team, is there anybody there?
Gus Horvath is on, but he has not raised his hand.
Hi, Gus.
Second time? Third? Other information session is now closed. Like a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Motion made, I get a second.
Second.
Second by John, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned at 7:22. Thanks, everyone.